What's up, guys? We are doing a brand new weekly news recap for Riftbound. We decided that there's not enough people yapping about Riftbound on YouTube, and so we wanted to add a couple more voices. So, my name is Khasino, this is my co-host Yogurt, and we're going to be going over all of the news that Riftbound drops every week. I found myself often mentioning things in my Discord chat, and then people are like, what? I didn't hear about that. What's going on? And then we have to constantly go back and fill people in. So it's easier if just every week we make sure everyone's all caught up. And Riftbound's been pretty good at throwing stuff at us. How do you feel about the rate of the flow of news in the Riftbound sphere?
Yeah, I'd say there's been, like you said, a huge turnover of information coming from first-hand sources and secondary sources. So I think it's nice, to get the information streamlined and out to the people.
And that's the plan. We got a lot of notes that we're going to be reading off of to make sure we don't get lost, but we're not going to try to spend too much time on any given topic unless it really warrants a deep dive. And the one last thing that I just want to address before anyone makes any accusations or anything, I am sitting in front of a green screen. If I turned the background off, you would literally just see green behind me. But that is my display case that's just over to my right. So I superimposed my own display case behind me, but that is my stuff. I'm not pretending to have a Riftbound collection. That is mine. Glad we got that out of the way. I know a lot of people were wondering that immediately, I'm sure. But all right, so let's get into the news, starting with the Spiritforged Pre-Rift event. So I guess for starters, any thoughts on this new format? It's a little different than the actual release event. What do you think of the Spiritforged Pre-Rift events? Do you like sealed?
So usually in my long Magic career, I haven't been too big of a fan of sealed because it's always just rather random and more so just about the experience of getting to play the new cards, which you don't even really do, right? Because 6 boosters in Magic with bigger set sizes doesn't really get you anywhere. But in Riftbound, I have to say, sealed is probably the most entertaining limited format I've ever played out of all the cards. And on one hand, I do have some thoughts about the pre-seeded packs, them being like always set and then having low value, which just takes away from seeing more new cards. But on the other hand, it does make for more playable decks and really helps elevate the play experience that everyone gets a fair shot. So overall, I'd say it's a really net positive.
Yep. Overall, I enjoyed it. I'm with you. I played several sealed events in Houston and at PAX Unplugged, and when you have more booster packs available, it feels like you have a little bit more control. I think it's a little bit more card draw RNG when you're only getting 5 booster packs. Some people just get like a crazy combo. Like one guy in my very first pre-rift just got Jayce in the Vanguard Armory, and he was able to just put Jayce in his champion slot. So literally, he just had a 25 card deck. As soon as he drew Armory, just played Jayce and chewed up a gold gear token and beat everyone pretty handily. Yeah. So sometimes you just get free combos.
Yeah, also what I saw, like, obviously the disparity between what you open and whatnot, but still, I'd say overall it was a great success.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. So on to the news about it. So for starters, the foiling on the pre-con Legends and Chosen Champions is noted to be a little different. Some people are saying the foiling is different. My impression of what's gone on is that just the printing is different. It was a different print run, but they are objectively darker. So while the pre-con packs were supposed to be the exact same cards in the normal booster, not a promo, not anything exclusive, especially in the case of the lighter color ones like Renata and Ezreal, they are just very obviously darker. So in your experience with other card games, do you think these dark variants will actually hold value and will be a collector's item that people will want? Do you think people are only going to care about them if they're sealed? Do you think most people will just not even be aware of this and not care?
So, at least from my experience in Magic, it used to be quite uniform in their printing runs, but as they have expanded, obviously also to different languages, they have different printing presses. So the only thing that really tended to happen was, for example, let's say you opened up a Chase Rare, and then somebody was like, wow, that looks really dark, like printing-wise. And then the other one would just be like, yeah, it's probably just a fake. And it really never amounted to more than people just thinking that they were fake cards. And as far as I'm aware, Riftbound doesn't have any proxies or like fakes at the moment. So I don't see it.
I can confirm they do have fake cards, but there isn't like a big market for fake cards. The main thing people are doing is they're making fake alt art runes that are still holographic and selling them.
Oh, okay.
Fake blinged runes seem to be pretty popular. So there are some fake cards floating around, but I don't know that there are any convincing fakes yet.
Okay, yeah. Because that was the most concerning thing in Magic, is just that if the cards were fake or not.
If they look different, then you're just like, sus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But so your prediction is this won't be a big ticket collector's item. Maybe something cool to have, but...
Judging by precedents, no, but you never know. There's always crazy people out there.
Yep, we shall see. Another thing to touch on is, so in China, if you won your Spiritforged Pre-Rift event, there was an exclusive Jayce promo card that had the parallel foiling and the promo stamp at the bottom, but otherwise the same artwork as Jayce. How do you feel about that? Do you think there should be a promo for winning a Pre-Rift event, or are you glad that ours was more casual and people weren't being too competitive for an extra promo?
I mean, for me it was difficult because I won 2 out of the 3 I attended, and the third one I lost in the final, so I'm counting myself.
You're like, I would have had Jayces.
Okay. I would have had a few Jayces. But then again, I'm not happy about it, but I understand that the whole infrastructure for the game was made in China, so I can see that maybe there was like somewhere lost in translation or somebody forgot to order them. Overall, I think it sucks to just have less for no reason, but it is what it is. We're not going to change it, right?
But you think sealed is better with a prize for winning a pre-rift?
I wouldn't say better or worse. It just should be uniform.
Okay, I agree with that. Should be uniform. Also, some stores just weren't handing out the prize support for whatever reason. They got Spiritforged boosters specifically to use as prize support for the pre-rift.
Yeah, and you get one display box.
Yep. Sometimes more if you got more pre-rift kits. It's one display box per the 16 pre-rift kits. But so some shops just didn't give them out, and they gave you Origins packs or set one Nexus Knight packs or something. That, yeah. What do you think about this? Is this despicable behavior and these stores should be reported, or? I
mean, basically, yeah. If there is a clear intention on how the whole thing is supposed to be handed out, then I don't see a reason why you shouldn't conform to what Riot has intended.
Yep.
It's just risking your own store at this point. If you already get, allocations and then you figure out that the store has not been adhering to the rules, then why should you expect any more support from Riot?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what you managed to sell one extra display box? Like, it's not worth it. It can't be.
Yeah.
But so in addition to that, also this allowed us to confirm that dud packs are still a thing. You can still get handed a booster that 2 of the 3 foil slots are common or uncommon foils. I think this is expected to stop around set 3 or set 4, but how much does this bother you?
I mean, seeing my very first pack on Friday was a dud pack, I was like, that's still a thing. So I guess it sucks, but as someone who's mostly into finding all the playable cards, I don't mind having more common and uncommons foil. But it sucks for everybody else who's trying to get their value out of their boosters.
Yep. Hopefully they do get it fixed in a timely manner. But yeah, I think this was just how it was printed and allocated initially, and this was set in motion well before they realized it was a problem. So I think by set 3 or set 4, this resolves itself. They've done the lottery draw already for pre-ordering Spiritforged booster boxes. Did you enter? Did you get selected?
Nope. Nothing on my end.
But you did enter?
Did you get anything? Yes, I entered for all of them.
I got 2 and then had a family friend enter and got a 3rd. So all 3. Well, I shouldn't say that. Only one of them got... so the family friend got in on the drawing. Me and my wife were able to order before they did the lottery. They started with just, we'll put them for pre-sale, and then there were lots of bots, and the website was crashing and all that. I was sitting there refreshing for an hour, but we managed to both get in.
Okay.
But so, ultimately, we got 3 from Riot.
Okay, that's very nice, yeah.
And then there's a site in New Zealand still selling for MSRP, and we got 3 from New Zealand as well, and those are on the plane.
Hopefully to Austria and not Australia.
Correct. I've had some other stuff shipped to Australia, but yeah, this should come to Austria. Speaking of shipping, they're shipping a lot more timely this time. 2 of the 3 boxes from Riot have already arrived. Ironically, the very first one that got the notice, like, hey, it's been shipped out, that's the one that still hasn't arrived. But the other 2 have already gotten here. Whereas, like, it was January, some of the pre-orders from Origins are still shipping. So
that launch has been a debacle.
But they've got it quicker now.
I'm glad there have been some learnings, yeah.
Yep, and they continue to improve. And so obviously they've got like 50% more supply for Spiritforged, so there's more product. The prices on boxes and singles are way, way down. Box prices hit the market at like 220 euro, and they're down to like 150 euro you can get a display box for. So do you think it's realistic to hope that it goes all the way down to MSRP or even below MSRP? And what do you make of this?
I mean, it's been quite interesting because the Origins launch has been very, very pricey. And I've gone from going huge into the red to going huge into the green. And it's been a bit too much of a roller coaster. And now with, only a few weeks into the Spiritforged release, I already see that most people have what they need and they are somewhat happy. So I can see that for Spiritforged specifically, the prices are going to drop to maybe slightly above MSRP.
Yeah, we're already almost there. And that's pretty good. And I mean, as far as the price of singles, I'm already to the point where my Spiritforged collection is like 80% done. Like I only need 9 more epics, but I still need a bunch more showcase. But so if you open one display box, right, that's like 150 euro. Statistically, you should get 6 epics and 2 showcase, and maybe a 3rd showcase that's like a rune. I bought a bunch of epics and showcase from Mike, who at the tournament on Sunday, and every card we were just paying 100% of what it was listed for on Card Market. I got like 10 epics and like 8 alt arts for 140 euro, and one of those was like a $60 over number.
Damn. Yeah, like especially for set 2, the singles, like you mentioned, the prices are way, way down compared to, having like 25 euro Watcher, like 30 euro Watcher from set 1, and like the 60, 70 euro Dead Blooms and Auroras and stuff like that. So, because, people were theory crafting that Ezreal is going to be at like 160 euro when he releases in the West, especially because of all the TCG player pre-sales and stuff. But seeing now we're like barely at a 1/3 of the price.
Yep, single prices are very healthy. Let's see, regarding competitive stuff. So now we're going to talk about the regional qualifier that's coming up. We are just a few days out from the regional qualifier in Bologna. I went to the regional qualifier in Houston, but this will be your first Riftbound regional qualifier. I think like everyone we know is going. So
yeah, most of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna like half of Austria is gonna be here. But so they had some interesting slip-ups the way they're handling the side event sign-ups. So when you get a badge, most of the badges come with a side event voucher where you just get free entry into a side event. You don't have to pay for it. But you have to sign up for the side events online, and you can't use a voucher online. You have to just pay for it. And then when you show up in person, then you'll get reimbursed. You'll get a little refund for the side event you paid for by then redeeming the voucher. This seems really roundabout. I mean, ultimately, I guess it's fair, but it seems kind of silly.
Yeah, I mean, seeing how I've been told stories, especially by you, and you can check out Khasino's YouTube video on it. The Houston event was also a total mess when it came to side events and in general, like the vouchers, organizing tickets and everything. So I'm also glad that there has been a lot of learnings on that front, because otherwise it would have been very frustrating, or maybe even scared me off of going to Bologna, seeing that they weren't going to take steps to rein in all the shenanigans that people have tried.
Yep, and we're gonna talk about the new prize wall and the plated legends and stuff in just a bit. But another thing that's weird is like for side events, there's supposed to be like a premium queue, but again, because it's all happening online, they have no premium queue, and so all the sealed events that people really wanted to get into are already sold out. So even if you are a premium badge holder, Like there is no premium queue. At best, that will help you with getting into an on-demand maybe, and they did say there will be premium queue for the prize wall. But yeah, again, also a bit of a fumble here in that people were expecting a premium queue to be able to register for the sealed events, and that just didn't happen. But so speaking of the prize wall, they added a couple things that were just not at Houston, not a thing. They added oversized battlefield promos, and they're only 1 ticket each. So this is basically some of the side events, a win gets you 1 ticket, but most of the side events, a win gets you 2 tickets. And each of these oversized battlegrounds is 1 ticket each. So this is basically like you played 1 match in 1 side event, thanks for coming, have 2 oversized battlefield promos. One is Treasure Hoard, and the other is Emperor's Dais. I think they picked good battlefields. Like, people like Treasure Hoard, I think.
Yeah, and I've also, funnily enough, on Sunday, I've had 2 people constantly ask where they can get Emperor's Dais, and nobody had them, so I might come back from Bologna and just hand them one.
Well, they should definitely ask me. We have so much bulk. I have 30 of every battlefield and 30 of every common and uncommon. I think I have like 8 of every rare. We opened almost 2 cases, and we have so much bulk. And every time we go, like, I'll bring it again tonight to DC. But yeah, we're just constantly just plopping the box on the table, being like, take what you need. We get raided.
Papa Khasino has it all.
Well, there's still some things I'm hunting for. I still need some foils, but I'm down to like 20-something foils, and then we have full foil playset of everything. So it's mainly the showcase that I need, and then basically every overnumber. I think we have 5 legends right now, 1 seal, 3 champions maybe, or 2 champions, I have to look, and then 1 signature. So we have a long way to go on the showcase and the overnumber, but most other things were pretty much done. So we'll see what progress we can make tonight. But enough about my collection. Nice. Let's talk about the plated legends. You've gotten to see a plated legend from Houston because I brought one back. I like that they call them plated legends now to make a clear distinction between that and the best ofs. So those were 10 tickets in Houston. They are now 40 tickets, and also 1 per person. So once you've redeemed 1, you're done to spread them around. They have not shared how many more they have, so we don't know if they're gonna like sell out super quick still. And we don't know if tickets are unique to the badge. In Houston, it was literally a piece of paper that didn't even have like a barcode or anything. Like, you could just go to a copy shop and just print a bunch more of them if you were a person of low moral standing. But most people are just buying them from someone else because you could just hand someone, here's 10 tickets, give me $50, whatever. So assuming that you can still just kind of pass tickets around, 40 tickets will easily be something that many people can amass on the first day. If somehow the tickets are bound to your badge, generally speaking, you're getting like 2 tickets for a best of 1 win. But that's still like 20 matches. Now, over 3 days, winning 20 matches
is doable.
Is definitely very doable. But it kind of becomes like an entire weekend project. Now, there's certain events, like if you get first place on the first night in the pre-qualifier event, you get like 432 tickets. You can still only go buy 1 plated legend, but you have enough to get a whole bunch of other stuff too. So there are ways to get a bunch, but go ahead.
So would the tickets then be, once again, would they be basically locked to the badge, or could you just hand them out to friends and be like, hey man,
we don't know.
I really want this.
We don't know. If it's the same as Houston, you can just make it rain at a random table if you want. Okay, but people were calling for like, hey, everyone's just buying and selling tickets. Someone is entering 1 side event and then going, oh, I'll just buy the tickets, and then just paying other people for their tickets. And some people thought that was an issue. As someone who wants to not spend the entire time just playing side events to try to get a plated legend, I'm kind of hoping I can buy some tickets, just because I also want to like do some trading with people and talk to people, maybe do some card slinging. Like, I want to enjoy more of what else is at the event rather than like, gotta do another side event till I get my 40, gotta do another side event. But I want a plated legend, so I'll do what it takes. But I'm hoping I have some other
commendable
options.
Committed to the grind.
Yeah, I would like to. But so the plated legends that are out now. They've basically announced that they're gonna, unlike so you basically get 8 sets where cards are legal to play. So Origins cards stay legal to play even, while set 7 is releasing. But if you assume every new expansion has 12 more legends, they would eventually get to the point where they have like 150, plated legends, and that's just too big of a selection. So they're retiring them after 3 sets. So the Origins plated legends will be available at all the Set 2 regionals, which is Bologna and Vegas and Lille and Atlanta. And then they'll be available at all the Set 3 ones, which is Sydney, Vancouver, Utrecht, and Hartford. So the only one close to us is Utrecht. I will be going to the one in Sydney, Australia, just because it's going to be the first Set 3 regional. But most of you guys will only have one chance during Set 3, which will be Utrecht, unless you're wanting to go to Canada or the US. And then the Spiritforged ones will also be available for Barcelona, Singapore, and Los Angeles, because they are first arriving in Set 2, so they get one more. But you get 3 sets to get the plated legend at a regional qualifier before it's retired.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's quite fair.
Yeah, that should be enough time, and it makes sense. One thing that was confirmed is, so in Houston there was no cooldown on the on-demand events, so you could, like what we were doing, we were farming them. So we had a group of 8 people, and we just showed up and went, we have 8 people, and we'd like to do an on-demand 8-person constructed, and they'd set us up a table, and we'd all play, and the second we finished, we'd go, all right, everyone, let's go back over there. Hi, we have 8 people. We'd like to do an on-demand 8-person constructed. And we were just doing this over and over and over. But now the Vegas tournament organizer has confirmed that, at least at Vegas, there is a cooldown between on-demand events to prevent ticket farming. I don't know what that's going to mean. I don't know how long. We don't have additional information on this, but do you think that this should be a thing?
I mean, the whole point of the tickets system and the prize wall is, right, that you strongly encourage people to play and actually play out those events. So assuming that you have, for example, a side event which is going to be 8 people, so 3-round Swiss bracket, and then that's going to amount to, I'd say, 3 hours minimum of playing, usually assuming that you have 3 rounds plus minus overtime. So if I were to imagine, I could realistically see that every 8-player event has a 3-hour cooldown between, or maybe not 3 hours, because you wouldn't want to lock out the first 2 people if you lose in the first round and you're out of contention for the max ticket pricing and you want to go again. So I'd say maybe an hour and a half, somewhere between 1 to 2 hours cooldown for each individual badge if they try to get into another event. How do I feel about it personally? I mean, it's better, I feel like, than just letting people buy out the plated legends, because you just show up and everybody just instantly buys their plated legend. And it disincentivizes people to just try to moneyball their way into a plated legend, which, I mean, sucks for you, I guess. Sorry about that.
No,
but
sorry.
It is... I think it's nice that you make people play the game, and otherwise you have this Pokemon player resurgence where people just go to events to scalp with the premiums admission ticket. And yeah, that's my take on it.
So I'm definitely biased here because, like you said, I want to just go hard and try to get a plated legend. But I do see it as, like, if they're trying to incentivize people to play, when I show up and go, I'm ready to do another event, and they go, nah, come back in an hour, you can't play again. Well, you're stopping me from playing. You've set it up like an arcade. Like, if you get enough tickets, you get a prize. Like, all right, let me earn some tickets. I'm here to play to earn tickets. Like, not now. Come back in an hour. It's like, this is on the, if that's how it plays out and they're tied to badge and everything, and I literally just have to keep taking timeouts. Okay, good. I'll have some time to walk around, do some trades, do some other stuff. But you're just drawing out my, like, get as many tickets as you can to get cool stuff from the prize wall. Okay, let me. Well, no. Okay, I'll be back.
I definitely agree. It is difficult, right? But there are always going to be people that will try to game the system. So I really think that they should put any sort of
well, but is it, I mean, if you're
measures.
just like, I'm playing a lot of side events, is that gaming the system, or is that participating in the
thing.
side
You
events?
see, let's see how, because At the end of the day, what it could come down to is you have 8 people showing up, and then after 2 minutes, you'd be like, "Hey, we played our 3 rounds of Swiss because
Oh no. So their judges like verify that every match was played and played out. So you can't farm it like that. I know what you're thinking, but they do enforce that you actually play.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's because that to me is absolutely despicable. Like that's unacceptable.
Now what we got away with,
and you buy basically tickets. And
yeah.
Like, hey.
What we got away with is we kept playing best of ones and being like, he won the best of 3. Okay. So that was how we kind of skirted it, but we had to keep playing best of ones.
Okay,
I see. But if everyone else, like, if again we were really trying to speed it along, so if like 3 of the games were over and 1 game was half through, we're like, who's heading points? He wins. Let's go, guys.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a little. Yeah. But everyone was on the same page. It wasn't people were like, no, I wanted to play. Like everyone was. We were there to.
Yeah, no, of course. So I definitely say it's a bit more of a gray zone than whatever harsh judgment I can impart on the situation. But no, I think I understand. Like especially like the whole arcade analogy you gave does make sense. But also, like I said, if you're just one person, right, and you don't have somebody with the entire Khasino Foundation behind it, for example, or like Khasino LLC, to like start grinding out Metal Legends, then obviously you want little Timmy. He can live his hero's journey and
still get one. But I think they've done a good job of combating that with just 1 per badge. Like even if I do all that, even if I can just show up and be like buying tickets and I immediately buy 40 tickets, I go redeem 1 plated legend, I'm done. I can't be like, and now to buy out 6 more.
Else. But you can just send someone else.
Yeah, but I have to have a really big crew to keep getting away with this. And here's the thing, I can send someone else, but it's the same, like someone else could have just done it for themselves. Whether it's me sending them or them sending them.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They can still just go get one. So it's just everyone can get one if they can get the tickets quick enough. So we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, I mean, I'm not bringing like 16 people to be like, I need a full set of the Origins and Proving Grounds plated legends. I would need even more now. It's 16 plus 12. It's 28, I think. Plated legends now already. Yeah, for a full set. So it's a lot of tickets. But let's talk prizing. The prizing has been a little bit interesting, a little divisive. So in China, the set 2 regional qualifier prizing, Chinese prizing is always different. They do top 32 editions, top 8 editions, and then they switch to different art for top 4s and top 1s. So their prizing was a top 32 alt art Bone Shiver and a top 8 alt art Bone Shiver. And then if you got top 4 and top 1, it's a different stamp. And also the stamp says which regional, so there's technically 16 different prize cards if you consider like the top 32 Bone Shiver from Fuzhou is different from Chengdu. And so their top 4 and top 1 is a select weather entity prestige Ezreal. It's a Wild Rift skin Ezreal card. It's blue Ezreal. We just don't get that here in the West. I'll talk about what we do get in the West, but we just don't get this alt art Ezreal. How do you feel about the prizing being different between the regions?
So once again, I think especially when it comes to alt arts, like more so than, let's go back to the example of the Jayce. It does suck that it's different, but it's a minor inconvenience because it's just same card, same artwork with a different stamp. But let's say, for example, you want to play that different Ezreal, and like you just love Ezreal.
And you love that art, yeah.
Yeah, and then not being able to get him in English, once again, kind of sucks. Not kind of even, I'd say very much sucks. But once again, nothing you can do about it. Yeah. And if we compare it to the European prizing card, I think it's way more disappointing that we don't get a cool and more playable card.
Yep. And so on that note, what we do get, so they don't have an attendance promo. They have like a commemorative battlefield thing for each regional. So they in a sense have like 4 attendance promos because there's 4 different commemorative battlefields. We have an attendance promo, which is something everyone will get, which is the English version of that alt art Bone Shiver. Just for showing up, you get an English version of the alt art Bone Shiver. It obviously won't have the top 32 or top 8 stamp, but we get a prize card that's incredibly limited in China just for showing up. So I do think that's pretty cool. But then our prize cards are only for top 8 and top 1, which is already feels very restrictive, just top 8 and top 1 and that's it. Whereas like at least you get a prize card for top 32 in China. And our top 8 is literally just a normal Blade of the Rune King with a little symbol at the bottom by the rarity showing that it came from a regional qualifier, and that's it. So if you put your thumb over that rarity icon at the bottom to hold it up, it just looks like a Blade of the Rune King card.
Yeah, you would never know.
Correct. However, one person from this regional and one person from the next 3 regionals will get an alt art Blade of the Rune King that people are dubbing the Christian Crusades Blade of the Rune King. It is very European. They nailed it thematically. What do you think? Do you like that art? Are you sad that you probably won't have one?
So I have to admit the card I think looks cool, which like also the art direction wise composition. I love the warm coloring, but I do have to say the playmat looks tough.
Boring.
I love the playmat. No, as in like sick. I love.
Okay.
I think the playmat because I'm very much for sleek, elegant, and simple design.
Okay.
And I would have loved it more, if there was really like they put a bit more emphasis on the champion part of the playmat instead of having it be like in the middle left bottom corner and more so being like a side mention. But it is what it is, with like King Arthur mythos and pulling out the sword of the stone and stuff like that. Like you said, it's very much a flavor win. So
the playmat has been catching a lot of flack. You're the first person I've talked to who really likes the playmat, and obviously there's no wrong opinion. I'm glad someone digs it, but most people have been like, the card is pretty cool. The playmat is so much wasted space.
I'm very much, I don't want to say weird when it comes to that, but the less I love, more or less. That's how you can look at it from my perspective.
Well, I'm glad that they found their target audience for it. So good to know there's people who are like, oh, I'd like to use that. So speaking of future regional qualifiers, the ones coming up after Bologna and Vegas are going to be Lille, France, and Atlanta. And the sale date that was originally tomorrow and next week got pushed back because they're moving to a new ticket seller with no exact time announced yet. And they raised the price of a competitor ticket. A normal competitor ticket was $65 and is now up to $100. Do you think it's a good idea that they're moving to a new ticket seller?
Do I think water's wet? compared to what the first UVS guys did, and like leaking the link for Las Vegas and stuff in the Discord and everything. I very much do not have any faith in UVS when it comes to selling the regional tickets.
Yep. The leak or the link leaking, people made a big deal out of it, but actually people just guessed it. It was just the same as Houston, but changed to Bologna. So people just put it together. It wasn't even a leak. Someone was just it should be good.
So from what I heard is they actually posted the Las Vegas link in the Discord. That's why people had access to it in advance, and then they guessed the Bologna part. Like they inferred it from there.
No, they posted Houston and then guessed it.
I got sent 20 minutes, 30 minutes prior. I got sent the Las Vegas link
because people figured out you can also change it to Vegas.
Ah, okay, I see.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Basically, okay, yeah.
But I'm just saying people were hyping it up as like this is a leak. Someone came in and like gave them early access to it. Like no, people are just like
no.
Slash
Especially
Houston.
Also, it was password protected as well. So if you open it up early, like it was still gated. Like you couldn't get it as a random person.
Yeah. It's just people knew where to go before the Twitter announced it, but
yeah. I mean, it was sold out before they posted the Twitter link, so
yeah, that's the problem is they were way too slow with those posts. But so they are discussing. They had an FAQ. Why aren't regional qualifier tickets distributed through a raffle or drawing system? They said we're prioritizing a system where all players can access registration at the same time on a stable platform. So we'll continue evaluating alternate methods, including lottery-style systems. So do you think a lottery-style system is a good solution for these tickets?
I mean, if they really try to limit it to one, because it just a lot of like possibilities pop into my mind, and I think that at the end of the day, it does kind of not solve the problem because, let's say for example, at my place at home, I live like right outside Vienna, and I have terrible routing, terrible Wi-Fi. So for me, as a regular person trying to buy the ticket online, in like let's say an open system, is basically impossible. But the chances of getting it through the lottery ticket, and if we're going to assume that they're also non-transferable, then also means that there is a universe where I never had a shot at getting into the regional. You know what I mean? And that just feels bad thinking about that prospect.
Well, I will mention this. So I think I think unfortunately this set you did not get a Summoner Skirmish win, mainly because I stole your Summoner Skirmish win by beating you in a finals. But I think for most sets you'll be fine to win Summoner Skirmishes. I think generally you're a little better than me, and we shouldn't assume that I'll I'll beat you. But they have gone on record as saying like they want to find ways, since Summoner Skirmish winners get a bye at the regional, they want to make sure that Summoner Skirmish winners get first dibs at getting the tickets. So while they don't have a plan in place, they've said, we know it matters, we'll have more details soon. But you think it's a good thing, I imagine, that if you win a Summoner Skirmish, you should be able to get a ticket?
I mean, I think very much so, because I'm obviously very biased on my end, but I think that if you win a skirmish, most of the time you are a very invested player, so I think that should be rewarded. Because otherwise, also, the skirmishes, value-wise, kind of suck, honestly. Like, the Blitzcrank playmat and the promo is very and I've heard from a lot of people that they felt no incentive to go to skirmishes. So
as a promo hunter,
the
I don't care about the playmats, but I want all promo cards. But I like that it's top 8. I like that you don't have to come in first place. So
yeah, for sure.
It felt good coming in first place because I needed the ego boost that I am at least capable of hanging with the good players. But I had accepted like, oh, I'll be content with top 8 and I'll get this promo. But yeah, so they're considering a lottery system, and they want to prioritize skirmish winners. And they've also said that people who won or placed highly at previous regionals, they want to be able to get them into future regionals as well. So that's
that's very good.
Another route to get in, is if you're established as a top tier competitor. And now we have new rules for things like Nexus Nights and stuff. Which is now more competitions are going to be run using best of 1 format instead of best of 3. And to facilitate that, they're allowing sideboarding after the legend battlefield and who's going first or second is revealed. How do you feel about more events becoming best of 1 with sideboarding after you see legend battlefield and who's going first, second?
So I, in general, really love this approach that they've taken to it, because I always, as I consider myself skill-wise as an above-average player.
I can confirm that you are.
And although that might sound very conceited,
no, you
as an experience,
you're like top 8 at like every event. It's
like different games.
It's established at this point. I'll say it for you. You're a high-level competitor.
Thank you.
That's a fact.
But my biggest enemy, usually if you are confident in your abilities, is variant, and that's why I would have shied away from best of 1. Mm-hmm. And having things like, for example, if we take a set 1 scenario where I like to play set, my opponent plays Aurora, and I'm good into everything except for Aurora, and queuing best of 1 into set, and the only option I have is to hope my opponent goes for a non-game, is neither fun for me nor my opponent. So having the ability to see that, oh, my opponent might play an Aurora Legend, and I get to sideboard, just reduces variance. And because at the end of the day, we play card games, why? For agency, so we can feel smart, right? You always want to feel like your decisions matter. And I think increasing agency and allowing people to sideboard and have tools instead of just being a passenger in their own body that has to watch for like 5 turns as they get like run over by the nut draw is nice.
Yes. Now I'll make a counterpoint. I'm kind of torn on this because on the one hand, like, it's a very common story that, we drive like an hour into Vienna every time we participate in anything. Like we'll be driving an hour into Vienna just to do a Nexus night at DC tonight. And when those go best of 3, we leave at like 11 p.m. and then we get home at like midnight. My wife has to be up at like 6:30 for work. It's just like literal cruel and unusual sleep torture for her to keep dragging her to these things. So I really like the best of 1 making these events move more quickly. But on the other hand, you were saying we like to eliminate variants, but each player randomly selects one of their 3 battlefields. Let's go back to a set 1 example. Whenever I would play Yi into Annie, if it was an Aspirant's Climb game, I was probably going to win. And if it was an Arena's Greatest game, I was probably going to lose. If it's best of 1 and they randomly pick Arena's Greatest and I randomly pick Dreaming Tree, this feels like not as much of a skill matchup anymore.
No, of course. But like I said, that's more so the issue with best of 1 and not with the changes that they've tried to acclimate to the best of 1 setting. So like I think the changes themselves are very good. I'm still very much critical of best of 1. But you just have to separate that. But I do agree with you that you can just sit there. And also some people just want to play the game, right?
Yeah.
Like some people want to just have more games. So therefore, I think it's nice that stores get to choose and that the option is there. Because for the, for the pre-Rift event at our biggest store in Vienna, we did 6 rounds of Swiss without a top cut.
Yeah.
But it was best of 1. So it was nice to be done after 4 hours instead of like 7.
That's not bad. All right, on to just some news from China. So first off, regarding the regionals, all 4 regionals have happened for set 2 in China. Draven stonks have been going down. He was like 35% of the decks at the first regional were Draven, down to 22% were Draven in the final one. And then obviously Kai'Sa stonks on the rise. In the first regional it was 7%, and she's up to 10%. We had a Kai'Sa win the 3rd regional, and then in the 4th regional we had Annie versus Azir in the finals. So firstly, what is your take on Draven falling off? Do you think people are just wanting to experiment, or he's kind of been exposed as not a universal answer to everything? Or
so my opinion is that he very much still is the best legend in the game, and I don't think anyone comes close to that. The reason I believe, or at least I theorize, why the usage has gone down so heavily is because since these are also only regional qualifiers, and at the end will culminate towards an actual regional, like a national in China, that as soon as all the good players that played Draven on the first tournament got their invite, because they placed top 32, whatever the cap was, that you don't have another incentive if you go to another of these regional qualifiers to play Draven again, because you're already qualified, and cash prizing is, I think, minimal at those tournaments. So obviously all the good players will just try to go medal card hunting, and that's just what it comes down to, in my opinion. And I think that trend is very much like, you can there's empirical evidence for that theory, because by every regional, Draven usage has dropped by exactly 5%. Which I think, if you're gonna, maybe this is conjecture or this is just correlation instead of causation, but I think 5% very much sums up the top of the field placing wise, and why Draven usage has dropped.
It's a very valid theory. So on that note, we've seen Kai'Sa and Annie on the rise, and obviously they were top for set 1. Where do you think Kai'Sa and Annie sit in the current meta?
So I believe Kai'Sa still is very much a top 5 deck. I think she's taken a big hit. I think that the Victor deck and Draven, so at least Draven she does somewhat okay into, but after boarding it's very rough for her, seeing all the hard bargains and Ferris Forerunners. I think Victor is also a similar story, where they kind of try to do the same thing, but Victor has infinite units because of his legend ability.
Yes.
And Annie, I think, very much is a bigger step down from Kai'Sa.
Okay, so you think Kai'Sa is holding her own better than Annie, even though Annie outright won the 4th regional?
Yes, because if you, for example, when it comes to these big tournaments, you always have to really dive into detail to see what's happening. Because if we look at the first regional, right, you see Draven versus Fiora, and you're like, wow, Fiora must have had a really good weekend and is really good into Draven, until you realize that the guy who made the finals actually didn't play a single Draven until the finals.
Oh, wow.
And then he got swiftly 2-0'd. So
Okay.
be it what it is, and I think also in general, I take to 10 results from China with a grain of salt, not because I believe in their player skill, but I think deck building wise, they tend to be very narrow-minded, seeing as how in set 1 they did not like Annie, and she turned out to be basically the end game deck for Origins meta.
Yes.
And then now you see, oh wow, Draven is very good, so everybody plays Draven, which is, in this case, the correct choice. And then they see, wow, Kai'Sa actually is also, and then they just instantly copy-paste the list, and you really see this because there are certain cards, like, for example, the number one indicator for a deck list being copied is the one-off Noxus Hopeful. So if you see that anywhere online, you know somebody has copied a deck list.
Okay. Fair enough. Now, let me ask you then, last thing regarding the emerging meta. In the 4th regional qualifier, the finals, Annie versus Azir. Is this an Azir fluke, or are people sleeping on Azir and he can totally contend with the best of them?
So I think Azir is very good into all the non-Draven decks. So I think he does excellent into Kai'Sa, he does excellent into Victor. He's decent into, like, very much adequate into Irelia. But I think the Draven matchup is... It's not quite there, right? Because Red, at the end of the day, has Thermo Beam. So, and you can bring Wind Walls, but they also have Brynhirs, and it's... I'd say you draw the short end of the stick, but he's definitely serviceable. Like, you can go deep with Azir.
Okay. So you think he can hang, and we'll see just what his cap is. They have announced they are doing a national open in Shenzhen, and they're going to have 2,048 players. The regionals have 512 competitors, but this is over 2,000 people going to nationals. You think that's a good size, or you think they should be more selective, or?
No, I think, especially if all those people like qualify and stuff like that, I think that's the bigger the better, you know. I really love having, like, especially as somebody who's played a lot of card games, or like in general a lot of competition, I really love having open fields, because it's a completely different meta from having very closed down, like, invite only tournaments, and it gives you a more realistic outlook at for what the average player can do, instead of having those, like, really, it might sound weird calling it that, but just inbred and incestuous metas where everybody is taking specifically for
funny.
the other guy they know will be there. So
I've not heard incestuous metas before, but that's good stuff. Yeah, I'm with you. It's the Godzilla meme. Let them fight.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So this I find really interesting out of China. I'm curious if we're gonna copy this. So new tournament format. So they don't have Summoner Skirmish over there. They have City Challenge, which is a similar thing, but not quite the same. It's what it sounds like. It's like a city top tournament, which I'm thankful we have Summoner Skirmish, where I just have to go and squeak into the top 8 at a local game shop. I was able to snag a pretty handy top 8 win at Gamers Academy just before we played at DC. And I managed to top 8 at Gamers Academy as one of only 6 people who entered. So that was nice.
Yay.
really worked for that one. I think I came in like 4th also, which felt terrible. I had such horrendous draw luck. It was bad. And I had a bye, I think. It was bad. No, I didn't have a bye. I don't know where I'm getting that. But anyway, it was sad turnout. But so they have a city challenge, which is way more people, but they are introducing a 2v2 tournament called the City Resonance Series. And it is going to, the way they see it is, it will replace the City Challenge tournament on specific weekends each season as a rotating permanent event. So if they brought that over to us, it would be the equivalent of, like, some stores, instead of doing a Summoner Skirmish, do a 2v2. And I can tell you, I've played in more 2v2 than most people, because I go to so many conventions and events, and the learn to play demos to spice them up, we'll do 2v2 and stuff. Very different meta. Some cards that you would never play suddenly become super meta. Like, there's that one in the Ezreal deck, for each opponent that takes a gold gear token, you get a gold gear token.
Yeah, the card sharp. Yeah.
And needing to conquer 3 battlefields, like, it's just a very, very different meta. Would you welcome the opportunity to diversify and also learn 2v2 and build arguably an entire second deck for 2v2? Or Or are you just like, this is good news
So
for other people?
no, so funnily enough, actually for set one, because the original rumors had it that Worlds was gonna be like a 5v5 league style like team tournament where it was gonna be three 1v1s and or like two 2v2s and a 1v1. So at the time I actually had already like started theory crafting for 2v2.
Okay.
And there are some very funny cards, like especially my secret sauce at the time was gonna be Leona because they have a lot of multiplayer cards in green and in yellow.
Yes.
So King's Edict and Party Favors.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was just interesting, right? Like I just love, especially like in Magic, I also love exploring alternative formats back in the day when I used to play. So now I also really want to see just what the game engine, like how far we can stretch it, what it has to offer. Because very much free for all, I'm not a big fan, especially in competitive. I don't think card games are meant to be free for all because there's too many, especially when it comes to high stakes, because there's too much problem solving when it comes to collusion and stuff like that. But I think 2v2 is very much fair.
Okay. But so you're looking forward to if we bring 2v2 over and we get city resonance
Yes.
tournaments. Okay.
I will be there and I will have an extra deck just for 2v2.
Now, as a personal question, do you already know exactly who you'd want to partner up with? Or do you have a list of candidates?
I have like 2 or 3 people, yeah, that are on my radar. When it comes
I'm just curious because I know them. You want to share who would be your picks?
Yeah, I think people I'd be interested would be Hector, Jacob, Stony. I don't know if you know Stony.
I do not.
And like just Adrian. So just the people I like. I just
Ooh.
want to play with the people I hang out with because that's
Okay. That's fun.
because it's a game to me at the end of the day, right?
Yep. Roxy, you'll always have a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And then our last little bit of news is the Lunar New Year bundle that was exclusive to China. Today starts the lottery where you can enter and possibly be randomly chosen to buy one of those. You didn't seem all that interested in a Lunar New Year bundle. A lot of people were. I know your thoughts on the promo card, but I guess if you want to, vent about the promo card to everyone, you can. But what are your thoughts on the bundle and the lottery system to get it?
So as for the lottery system, I think it's fine. I'm just glad that the West does get some kind of access to it. Like as a whole, I very much understand that the West being included for the game as a whole was a very last second decision and the infrastructure is not there yet. So I do cut them a lot of slack. Like it is difficult and you have to move mountains to bring this game to the other part of the world. So on that front, I'm fine. As for the actual product itself, like I think it looks gorgeous, don't get me wrong. But I'm very much somebody who puts a lot of emphasis on the what's called the Ludo narrative, so that gameplay and flavor have to align. And seeing a green and purple legend be in like warm, bright colors really messes with me because I want to be able to look at the card and understand what it's about and immediately relate it to gameplay. While I think she obviously looks gorgeous, it just isn't for me. And also I prefer to have it in English because I like having my cards uniform. So my first question was going to be, is this in English? But I assume not so because it's, like you said, for Chinese, so for Lunar New Year.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm not interested. If they maybe had made Aurelia, like, let's say, yellow-orange, like, body order, I would have considered it more thoroughly. But in this case, I have to say I'm out.
All right. And final question, the way they handled the Poro coins, these boxes all look the same on the outside, but 1 in 10 has a gold Poro coin, where the rest all have a silver Poro coin. You can't see it from this angle, but I have both on the display case behind me. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about this move? Like, oh, extra milking of the whales, or low blow to the collectors, or that's a fun little inclusion, more power to them, I couldn't care less. As a collector, I found that a little annoying. Like, okay, well, I'm not going to buy 10 boxes. And even if I bought 10 boxes, I might get 0 gold coins. So now I literally just have to externally buy a gold coin. So for me, this was a bit annoying. It's just like, okay, I'm being taxed. Unless my box that I'm opening for myself comes with a gold coin, I'm buying a gold coin. That's a bummer. But you're in the same boat as like, oh, this was just a slap to collectors, haha. Or
I'm more so on teams. Once again, I say, as someone with no skin in the game when it comes to collecting, I think it's a very cute idea. I think it's just like a little, like, you already get your money's worth, and then there's like an extra little on top. It's like free gambling basically, without like any sort of like emotional investment. I mean, if you if you are a collector, then kind of sucks. But I mean, you're already so deep in the game. Unless the Poro coin goes for like way too much, I don't see how that's gonna be the make or break for a collector.
Would you like to
I
guess?
personally think
Point blank, the price of a gold Poro coin.
So what people are selling, or what I personally would sell it for?
Both.
Okay, so my number would, I guess, be like 50 euro, I guess, which is already quite a lot. But that's like what it would be worth to me if I was a collector. And then I'd say maybe people are being very smug about it. So I'd say, let's say like, hell, I don't know. It's either 20 or 120. That's what I'm going to stick on.
No, you were pretty close initially. The last I checked, they're going for about 60, I think, is what we bought ours for.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if people really want it, then that's fine. And if not, then, like I said, I think it's a very cute idea. I like it very much.
Now, the gold Poro coins from the previous year, Lunar New Year, those are going for a lot, but most people don't even know that those exist. So.
Yeah.
But that is all the news we've got. Is there any topics that we didn't bring up that you were hoping we'd get to, or you think we've yapped long enough?
No, I think it's very comprehensive. So for people, they should just be up to speed now.
Fair enough. So I don't know if this will release on Tuesday or Wednesday or maybe even as late as Thursday, but we're going to be doing one of these every week. Today we recorded on Tuesday. For the first week or two, we might shift around when we record, but I think maybe a record on Tuesday, release on Wednesday might be the sweet spot, but we'll find out. We'll finalize that in the coming weeks, but both of us will be attending the Bologna Regional Qualifier in Italy, leaving on Thursday, and we'll be there all weekend. So we will have another weekly news update for you guys, and a lot of it will be about everything that happened at the Bologna Regional Qualifier. We'll try to get a bunch of footage for you and stuff like that. So any closing thoughts on Bologna? Looking forward to Bologna? You nervous? You got new secret sauce you want to try? Anything like that?
No, I'm very much excited. I mean, my pick has been decided for a while. I'll be playing Aurelia. I'm pretty much done with my list, so just going through the motions, getting a bit of experience, and then try to do my best at the regional.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. And so again, my name is Khasino. This is my co-host Yogurt, and we'll be back bringing you the latest news for a quality Yap session every week. So if you guys want us to change anything about the format, if we left any big news events out that you want us to cover next week, any tips or advice, we want to tailor this show to make sure that it works best for you guys as well. So yeah, any feedback you have, just leave it in the comments. But otherwise, thank you guys very much for checking out this video, and we will see you guys real soon. Until next time. Peace!
Take care.